So moving into the online booking portion, I would say next to having a website, this is probably going to be the second most important thing you can do. And there's just so many different reasons why everyone should have some type of online booking form attached to their website. So it's not a contact us form. It's not a request a quote form. It's an online booking form that actually books someone after making them fill out, certain information pieces. People end up booking and they end up on your schedule for a service. Now, with that said, there's so many different variables that not every business actually adopts this idea, just because all businesses are ran differently. And in our industry, there's a ton of variables when it comes down to how you want to properly clean a customer's home. And so online booking forms can actually end up limiting that. But at the same time, if you're able to standardize your method or fit your methodology into a standardized way, and you're able to integrate an online booking form on your website, what ends up happening is that traffic comes into your website, ends up converting through the online booking form as you're, for example, not picking up the phone or talking on the phone, right? So one of the things in my head that drew me to this point was being on the job and answering phone calls that had questions in regards to what we offered, and then also booking them. So for me personally, that meant stopping what I was doing, stopping the carpet cleaning, stopping the vacuuming, whatever machine I was using, spending 30, 40 minutes on the phone, not doing the job that I'm already at and supposed to be doing, or not picking up the phone call, missing a sale, and continuing with the job that I was doing. And so when I sort of made that transition into this sort of online world and the online aspect of the cleaning industry, that didn't necessarily allow me to just never pick up the phone and just constantly get bookings. But when I would pick up the phone, I would end up directing them. I had something to direct them to, and I can continue focusing on whatever it is I needed to focus on. And initially that was actually cleaning. And then later on, it turned into a more administrative, strategic role. One thing I want to point out for online booking pages is something that Juan also pointed out for applications, right? So he had that screen up where we were looking at an application form that was, I think, 37 steps, right? So one of the things I don't like, and I think is really important, is for the customer, especially when you're trying to make a sale, for them to be able to see the entire form from start to finish. So this is a screenshot, but for example, in this form, if you were to start from the top, you'd be able to scroll all the way to the bottom and you would be able to see exactly the information that we're asking from you. It's not a 30-minute process. It's not 40 steps. I don't believe that online booking forms should be broken up in more than one page. They need to see the end goal. Okay, that the booking process itself is the sales process, and that needs to be as frictionless as possible for the customers. Strategically laying out the booking form is also another aspect of this. So when I was kind of thinking through what information I wanted to ask first, it's name, first name, last name, email, but it's not so simple, right? So you want to get them invested into the booking, the service, picking out their service, picking out biweekly, how many bedrooms, bathrooms, square feet, whatever, hourly, however you charge. At a certain point, you do ask for the necessary information, right? Name, email, phone number, address, obviously. Strategically speaking, one of the best things I've done is add extras or add-ons to the online booking page somewhere in the middle, somewhere towards the end. For no other reason other than as I've shopped online myself, I noticed and just realized back then that I would always be asked if I wanted to add this on or add that on right at the end, right as I'm checking out, right as I've finished entering all my information, and I'm clicking the pay button. So adding on add-ons or extras in the middle / towards the bottom of the online booking page is part of that sort of strategic layout that I think is really important, that does require some thought. Another piece that kind of ties into the one page aspect of the booking page is it has to be easy to follow, right? It just can't be one page that scrolls and scrolls on forever and ever. It can't have 100 fields. It can't be chock full of text, right? So we all have policies. There's cancellation policies. There's rescheduling policies. You want to let them know about this. You want to let them know about that. That all will happen on the booking page to some extent, but it has to be easy to follow. We're not trying to overwhelm somebody even with a one pager. And finally, I'm going to tie the flow back up with the professionally designed aspect of things. It just can't be, it can't look like it's cheaply made. Why? Because at the end of the day, what you're asking for someone to do is book your services online, slash, if you're using a payment processor, enter their credit card information, their personal information, even outside of that. You want it to be professionally looking. You have to come off as a professional business in order to attract customers who would utilize your services, especially online. So I've seen a lot of different takes on booking pages, a lot of corners being cut, and regardless of whether it's for that reason only, or there's other variables at play, I get the question of how come I have no bookings coming through? I mean, that's just one variable, but it is something to consider. We'll move into variables. So the booking page itself, right, as I mentioned earlier, you will have to, or you have the ability to put in add-ons, extras, right? That's a great revenue source right there. At the end of the day, as someone is checking out, you're offering extras to them. That's something that I mentioned in the strategic layout portion of this that we added towards the middle of the page. You have your contact details, you have your job details that relate to the job itself. The contact details relate to the customer, obviously an address, a name, an email, a phone number. One of the most important things, in addition to just your basic job and contact details, is going to be the actual policies, the additional text. Okay, so with an online booking page comes this risk of somebody booking something without them actually knowing what your policies are or why they're going to be charged a $50 cancellation fee or reschedule fee if they reschedule within less than 24 hours. You want to be able to lay that out. You want to lay all the policies out, as many as you can, or as many as you find important, without overwhelming the customer on that checkout page, right? You want to let them know what your cancellation policy is, what's included in a deep cleaning. Okay, you want to be able to cover as many bases as you can, so that when someone does book online without you talking to them on the phone, which will happen all the time, you want to make sure that they're not surprised, okay, whenever you show up to their home or whenever they receive a reminder email. Additional custom fields is also something that your online booking page should be able to provide, right? So whatever fields are standard that come with whatever pages exist out there are probably not going to be all you're looking to collect in terms of information. You're going to want to add your own spin to it. You're going to want to know how to enter a home. You're going to want to know how many pets they have. Those fields may not be standard on the booking page, so you want to be able to add custom fields. You may not even know it in the beginning, but as time goes by, you're going to realize that you do need to ask this question or that question. Finally, I'm going to jump into payment, which is going to lead us into the next slides. So with the online booking form, what you want to do is actually combine that with a payment processor integration, right? And we'll discuss those in a little bit, but you want to stop, and I say stop invoicing, start charging directly. Obviously, invoicing is great. You can continue to invoice, but what I strongly recommend most people kind of shift to is taking a card up front. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be charged, but you have something on file to charge. You can charge that card directly for that job or service, whether it's the same day, the next day, whatever your policies are there, or whatever they are. But the point is you want to move away from allowing someone to just book without putting skin in the game. Okay, that's one way to kind of think about it. So we had a ton of outstanding debt when we were collecting cash and checks. That this is what led me to payment processing and taking cards. And I didn't know how to really collect on it, because once you scale and you start hiring people, right, those cash and checks that they take from customers have to end up in the office somehow, right? And that became very risky in my mind. Never actually had any issues internally, but I did want to kind of nip that in the butt before it became a problem for me. With that said, I moved directly into credit cards, credit or debit cards. So taking online payment is probably the third most important aspect of leading to online bookings, leads, and sales coming through your website. I want to move everyone away from cash and checks. I want to move a customer away from having the ability to book online so easily that they don't even take it seriously. So when you send them a reminder email or reminder text, or even show up at their door, they're confused as to why you're there, right? Making them put a credit card in lets them have a little bit of skin in the game, and they're going to think twice about forgetting, right? Because there's cancellation policies. Now you can charge the card directly. Okay. There's the fact that their card's on file somewhere, quote unquote. They don't want to miss out. They're less likely to forget. With that said, though, I've seen this go both ways. We require a credit card or a debit card on checkout for my cleaning business, but for many other businesses, I've seen them leave the options open. So cash, check, credit, debit card, except Venmo, Cash App, whatever way you want to take payment. I think having multiple options is fine until you see that it becomes a problem. And at that point, we would move into securing that payment up front.